According to the Our World in Data website, globally we consume 308.2 million tons of meat each year. The highest intake of meat is seen in industrialized nations, wherein Americans consume 200 pounds of meat per person per year on average. We have all contributed to the damage caused by the agricultural industry, and we are all suffering the consequences. The physical and environmental impact of the meat industry is devastating, and we need to find a way to combat this. It is time for us to consider eating less meat in order to become more healthy, more sustainable, and more food secure. So first, let's take a look at some of the examples of the negative effects of meat and meat industry. Well, first of all, it's unsustainable. According to the USGS website, in order to make 1 pound of meat, it takes more than 2,400 gallons of water. Nearly half of the water used in the US goes towards raising meat. The EPA website outlines that 24% of all greenhouse gas emissions come from agriculture. That is more than all transportation emissions and all emissions from other industries. It's also unhealthy. The Harvard Health Publishing website says that an accumulated body of evidence has shown that there is a connection between high intake of red and processed meats and a higher risk for heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and premature death. While meat may taste good to some of us, there is no need to eat the amount of meat that our culture suggests. Any positive benefits you receive from meat, you can also receive from a healthy, balanced, plant-based diet with supplements. The agricultural industry is also objectively unethical. Animals are given so little space that they cannot even turn around or lay down comfortably. Most factory farmed animals have been genetically manipulated to grow larger, produce more milk or eggs than they naturally would. Some chickens grow so unnaturally large that their legs cannot support their weight. This means that they become dehydrated, they can die of starvation because they cannot walk to their food source. The decrepit conditions that these animals live in also pose a risk to human health. Did you know that 80% of antibiotics used in the US go to meat and poultry? This is because the environments that animals are abused and killed in breed life-threatening, antibiotic-resistant bacteria that can be extremely harmful to humans. So what can we do to make all of this better? Well, first of all, we can try and eat less meat. When you reduce your meat intake, you're also reducing your personal carbon footprint. Experts suggest starting out by simply reducing the portion sizes of meat that you already eat. By eating less meat, you are also subsequently protecting yourself from the health issues associated with too much meat intake. We can also try to incorporate more plant-based diets into our life. By substituting a meat-heavy meal with a plant-based dish once a day, once a week, or even once a month, that is one less meal contributing to the waste and death surrounding the meat industry. You'll be surprised with how affordable, filling, and nutritious plant-based meals can be. So what kind of future can we expect if we all reduce our meat intake? Well, other than obviously becoming more ethical, we can expect more food security. The sheer amount of grain that we use in order to raise meat could be used to feed 4 billion people instead. The land we use for factory farmed meat could also be used for crop production. And while we don't have enough animals to feed everyone, it is much easier to feed more people using plants. It would create a more sustainable world. You would save more water by not eating a pound of meat than you would if you didn't shower for 6 months. So please continue showering, but consider eating less meat. More and more people are choosing to eat less meat and even adopt plant-based diets. This means that the range of meat substitutes and vegetarian and vegan options are becoming more and more accessible. A world with less meat is a world wherein we're healthier. By cutting out the excess of meat in our diets, we could possibly reduce the rate of heart disease, cancer, and obesity in the United States. A world with less meat also means a world with less illness and premature death. So where does this leave us now? It's understandable to enjoy the taste and culture surrounding meat, but 99% of the meat produced in the US comes from industrialized factory farming. This mass production of meat that Americans contribute to is hurting our planet and hurting our health. By making the decision to eat less meat today, we can look forward to a more sustainable and healthy future. So please consider eating less meat. Head into the future with the belief that our actions do matter, and that by choosing to eat less meat, we can make the world a more food secure, ethical, and sustainable place.